Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. This is Mike. I'm coming at you with another video. This time I want to talk to you about the Zeta toys, Silver Arrow, ZB-03, Silverbolt, the last part I needed to build a Superion. And let me tell you, I was really excited about this figure, mostly to build Superion, and it's got its pluses and its minuses. I'm going to tell you the pluses, I'm going to tell you the minuses, all that great stuff. And then, well, let's get into it, starting looking at the box. All right, this is a big box. It's big, it's beefy. Here's one side of it. Here's the other side of it. And then let's see what it looks like if we try to build a puzzle. That's all I can build on that bad boy right now because I'm missing two. But I'm going to build Superion here a little bit with only two appendages. And it's going to be magic strength. This is part of why the box is so big. You get the main body, Silverbolt, and all the pieces to form Superion in this box, and it's huge. I didn't have my box. I got a used Rudicus from Zeta, so this is all new to me, the size of this box. Like, I've seen like pictures and stuff, but until you haven't, you go, dang, that's big. That's like almost as big as a Omega Supreme box. So let's get into this guy here, and at the end, I'm going to show you a comparison of him to the Fanstoys. So, I think he looks good. In fact, I like the way he looks better than Fanstoys, but we're going to do that comparison later. But there's a couple of things that are a bit off about it, but let's talk about the good. First, the good is that he has a ridiculous amount of articulation because of his transformation. And like this shoulder joint, it's like a double articulated shoulder joint. And he can get his arms way in the air. Like, that's pretty impressive. But then you have to readjust that joint when you're done with some crazy poses. When it comes to the rest of them, the articulation is pretty good. It's just not as great as them crazy shoulders. He's got strong ratchets. You can hear all that ratchet goodness in there. Goes way back. Way back. And then just you can make him look good in so many places. Let's get him back to get him all in frame. He's a big bot too, so when we get to comparisons, you're going to see how big he is. And then head can do everything you need out of him. And what's sad is all this is put into him, and he's not the best looking, I would say, version of Silverbolt that we will get. But for being this good looking, I'm never going to see him in this mode again because he's going to be my Superion. I don't like these little wings are like faux wings. It matches aesthetic a bit, but it's not really. So that's kind of interesting there. Now, getting into negativity though, this backpack. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but in my mind, I'm like, I can fake it till I make it. I can make this thing work, and I spent so much time not being able to make this thing. Like, I think I got it to work, and then it falls apart a minute later. So the backpack is a challenge. Now, it's going to be. It's also the reason it's a problem. It's still going to be fiddly like this when it's in Superion mode, I believe. We'll find out in Superion review, but I do like it though. I'm going to say there's the couple of nitpicks that I have is pretty nice. Now, getting into the hand and putting in the gun, again, it holds okay, but as you can see, it falls out every time I manipulate them. So maybe mine just doesn't have the right tolerance or something like that. But I like it enough to already put the symbol on it. Okay, so my favorite part about talking about these is the comparisons. And so this is a Combiner Wars Silverbolt. And I don't know why, I just have an extra one laying around. So that's what he looks like. And seeing as how this is another Combiner that's pretty recent, like I wasn't happy with that backpack because we're not talking Masterpiece here. We're talking Hasbro mainline. But, so I do like the way the backpack looks better on this one. Way better than the Combiner Wars one. And it doesn't impede his actual ability to move like this one did. So this one was like a universe or something like that. I mean, when you look at the word chug, it's classic, Hinkai, universe, and then generation. So this was like a universe line, I guess. And anyway, I've always liked Superion as my favorite. And when I see a Silverbolt, this guy doesn't combine with anybody. So he can look a lot sleeker, I guess you could say. But he really just kind of folds in half. But this was like the biggest Silverbolt I've had. until like the KO oversizes came. And this guy blows it out of the water. But of course it's going to blow it out of the water for price point. Now for a G1 comparison, it's not really G1. It's more of G2. Because all my G1s are otherwise built as Superion. Because I have a lot of Superions. So the Superion review is going to be quite intense with some comparison after comparison after comparison after comparison after comparison. Here he is next to Magic Square Prime. And the reason that this is kind of a big deal, I think a lot of people when they first got theirs were saying that he was too big. I don't think he's too big. But yeah, I just remember him being around the same size as Prime. And if you have an MP10 or if you have the TE01, the Transform Element or whatever, they're all within a fraction of an inch of each other. So this comparison is exactly the same as your MP10 and the other ones. All right, here he is with the rest of the team, and then they look good together. I don't have the new heads from the new guys and all that stuff yet. That's coming. But I think this set looks great in all modes. And for the price point, you know, that's not cheap. Like you're looking at over $400, right around $400 to get them all. But cheaper than the other options that are coming, I guarantee you that. And probably the best Superion out there. It's going to be really hard to beat. But let's get into a Fanstoys comparison of Silverbolt. Okay, so here we are with a comparison between Silverbolt and, well, Fanstoys and Zeta. So looking at this, let's just go ahead and get this in perspective here. And let's do a Silverbolt versus Sunbow and start this out. So Silverbolt versus the Zeta versus Sunbow. Let's move this out of the way. Here we are. So what you've got is, starting at the top, the head. I think the head looks good. It's not a bad looking head. I think it could be a little better, but man, I think Zeta did an alright job with the head. Looking at the shoulders are, you're looking at black right here, and then went white right here. And then this is an obvious wing, and it's not a wing, it's a faux wing. But it looks good. Now the top section of the chest looks perfect. But then you get into this middle section, and it's not quite right. And then the pelvis, not quite right. But I like the overall look of this guy. I think it looks good. Getting down into the legs, you got the yellow. You got the yellow here, here, and here. It's more of a gold, but I mean, it's interpretation right there. I wouldn't want the figure to have this bright a yellow, to tell you the truth. Then getting down into the kneecaps, these are square, those are rectangle. I mean, you're splitting hairs, and then the feet, they don't fold out. They look a little bit different, but this is also an animation of a G1 cheaper toy design. So let's get into versus Fanstoys. Fanstoys, right there. I think they are a slave to the animation, and they just, man, they nailed it. They nailed the animation model like almost exact. The only thing is, like the head sculpt is hard to tell with this and that angle and all that stuff, but that's a full wing, it's black back there. The color is almost the same as Zeta in the yellow, but the chest part's just right, but the midsection's just right, but the waist is just too thick. He's kind of chunky. And I wonder how his backpack's going to hold up, considering that the backpack was an issue. And then this section down here, just a little bit off. But considering these, you're taking just a drawing and turning it into something this close to animation. That's pretty impressive with the Fanstoys. And I think that's where Fanstoys usually wins. They usually win with that. And then getting back to a quick side-by-side of these two. And they both look great. I mean, I like the way Zeta looks better because of the narrower waist. But I know when I get Fanstoys in my hand, I'm going to say, I love this thing. Well, what do you think? Are you in on Zeta? Are you waiting on Fanstoys? Do you not care about Superion? And the last question of all, and I want to sound off, what do you want them to make next? Don't say Predaking because we know that's coming. What do you want made next? Tydarium Hanger. Out.